इधर रेड डॉट पे हो गया स्टार्ट. So we are discussing problem C of Codeforces Global Round 22. In this question, this is a game theory question. We have two players, Alice and Bob. They are playing a game on sequence of n integers, where n is any odd or even number which ranges from 10 to the power minus 9 to minus 10 to the power 9 to 10 to the power 9. And in each move, where Alice moves first, and they have to pick any number from these numbers, and Alice's goal would be to make her sum even, means the end sum even, and if she is able to do that, she will win. Otherwise, Bob will win, and Bob will obviously try to make her lose in certain ways. So, how can we solve this? Given n integers, where n is the length of the sequence, like here we have 4 test cases, and in each test case we have given the length of the sequence and the element of the sequence. So, for example, we have like length 3 and 1 3 5 elements, so it is Alice move. So how many times Alice will move, like so the first move have to be done by Alice, so C, and the second move has to be done by Bob, and third move has to be done by Alice, and in after the 3 moves all the everything matlab game will end, because we have only 3 elements. So Alice can take any two of the number, let's say 3 in 1 and 1 in 5, and like this is the series of like choices. So Alice can take any two number, and both of them are odd, so the result will always be even, so Alice will always win. So what is the winning strategy? Means, is this a winning state? We have to like give the output. So we can use dynamic programming for that. The intuition for this problem is like okay, so we only want is like is the final sum for Alice is odd or even. So we can break the entire sequence into 0 1 0 1. 1 means like it is odd and 0 means even, and the exact value doesn't matter, because like we only have to give the parity of the numbers. Like if odd plus odd is even, and even is always even, and odd is if odd occurs odd number of times, it will be odd. So we don't care about the exact number, we only care about the parity. So we can simulate it by like taking the count of all the odds and evens, and in each move, like it is, if it is Alice move, she has, if there are odd number of matlab, if there are odd elements and there are even elements, so if she has a choice, she can either take odd one or even one, and we can brute force on like all the possible choices and see if she can get answer in her favor. So how can we code it? Okay. Yeah. So we have a recursive function which, okay, so first we count all the odd numbers we have in that sequence, and all the even numbers we have on the sequence, and we will have a boolean value which will be like which player's move it is, whether it is Alice's or Bob's move, and this will store the parity of like cumulative sum of all the numbers which Alice took, and whether it is odd or even. So like we store the current DP state in a variable called answer, and we pass it by reference, so that we do not have to write it over and over again. And we initialized all the DP state with -1, which haven't been calculated yet. So if it has been calculated, means it is not no longer -1, so we'll directly return it from here. Otherwise, what will be the base case? Like if we have odd numbers of, like if the odd number count and even number count both are 0, means we have no numbers left. So the answer will be if Alice will win, that means that Alice parity is equal to 0, that is even. So the DP will store 1 there. So let's say it is, if player is 1, that means it's Alice's move. So we will take the worst case scenario for Alice, that is she will lose. Here 0 represents losing state, not the like parity or something of parity is represented separately here. So Alice will try to make this 1 by like if there are odd count, if we have odd count, matlab this if will it will only run if we have like odd numbers available, means even number available. So we will take that even number, And if we do it with one minus player, then it will switch the player for the next move. Like if the player is 0, then it will become 1, and if this 1, it will become 0. And since the parity will be same, since we are only taking even number here. And if we have odd number available, she can do is odd count will be decreased by 1, player will be changed for the next move, and the parity will be changed. So like if any of them will return 1, then Alice will try to make it 1, which is the winning state. It is the winning state, not we are not representing the parity, so don't confuse it with that. So if it is 1, like any of them will be 1, we'll try to or it with 0 so that it gets 1. So now let's take Bob's turn. Bob will try to make it 0, which is the losing state. So what will be the worst case scenario for Bob? That it is 1. So we'll try first initialize it with 1 and then try to improve scenario in Bob's perspective. So what can Bob do if there are even elements left, means number of even elements left, then he will first try to take the even one. And like Bob cannot change the parity for Alice sum, so we do not interfere with this. And we try to do both, first even and then odd, and try to make it, if any of them give 0, we will try to make the temp 0, so that Bob will Bob will play optimally, so he'll always try to make it 0 by ANDing it with either, if any of them gives 0, the temp will be get 0, which is the optimal case for him, and which will store it in answer and then return it answer. So um, it is a recursive brute force where we try to do we try to go to both of the possible paths, whether we can take odd or even, and optimize it for their own perspective. And here we call the function where we have calculated the number of odd numbers, number of even numbers, and here 1 represents that it is Alice's move, as Alice was moving first, and 0 is the sum of a parity of Alice sum, which is initially 0 because she hasn't took any element, so it will be 0. And finally, if this is gives 1, which is the winning state, then Alice will win, otherwise Bob. So this sums up the explanation. Thank you. बंद कर अबे बंद कर